Welcome to the West Wing Week, your guide to everything that's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. This week, the President and his administration commemorated the 11th anniversary of the September 11th attacks and addressed the attack on the American Embassy in Libya. We also took the Rhodes Traveled for a look back at the meaning of honoring 9/11. That's September 7th to September 13th, or 11.
11 times we have paused in remembrance, in reflection, in unity, and in purpose.
Early on Tuesday morning, Dr. Jill Biden made a visit to Fire Station number 206 in Alexandria, Virginia. With a basket of bagels and a box of coffee for the crew, she spent time thanking the first responders from one of the first stations on the scene in the aftermath of the attacks on the Pentagon 11 years ago.
And just stop by to say thank you.
Back at 1600, President Obama and the First Lady were joined by White House staff for a moment of silence on the South Lawn at 8:46 a.m., the moment American Airlines Flight number 11 struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center on September 11, 2001. Later, the President and the First Lady traveled to the Pentagon for a wreath-laying ceremony with members of the military and Americans who lost a loved one in the attack on the Pentagon.
No matter how many times we come together on this hallowed ground, know this, that you will never be alone. Your loved ones will never be forgotten. They will endure in the hearts of our nation, because through their sacrifice, they helped us make the America we are today, an America that has emerged even stronger.
Before returning to the White House, the President and First Lady also visited Section 60, the area of Arlington National Cemetery where many fallen soldiers from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan are laid to rest. Meanwhile, in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, Vice President Biden was joined by Secretary of the Interior Ken Salazar and Secretary of Transportation Ray LaHood at the Flight 93 National Memorial to honor the heroes of United Flight 93.
My hope for you all is that as every year passes, the depth of your pain recedes and you find comfort in recalling his smile, her laugh, their touch. I also hope it continues to give you some solace, knowing that this nation, all these people gathered here today who are not family members, all your neighbors, that they've not forgotten. They've not forgotten the heroism of your husbands, wives, sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, and that what they did for this country is still etched in the minds of not only you, but millions of Americans.
After the ceremony, the Vice President met with family members of the passengers and crew of Flight 93 and joined them at the impact site for a moment of remembrance. In the afternoon, Dr. Biden stopped by the VA Medical Center in Washington, D.C. to wish World War II veteran Alice Dixon a happy 105th birthday. For those not doing the math, Alice, known as the Queen Bee to center residents, was born in 1907 and is one of the first women and one of the few African-American women to serve overseas in the European theater.
One man said, I'm going to give my church a lot of money this Sunday. I said, now don't go one Sunday. Decide to go 7 Sundays and give them money.
Go every Sunday.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, the President and Secretary Clinton spoke about the tragic deaths of U.S. Embassy staff in Benghazi, Libya.
As Americans, let us never, ever forget that our freedom is only sustained because there are people who are willing to fight for it, to stand up for it, and in some cases, lay down their lives for it. Our country is only as strong as the character of our people and the service of those, both civilian and military, who represent us around the globe. No acts of terror will ever shake the resolve of this great nation, alter that character, or eclipse the light of the values that we stand for.
They then traveled to the State Department, where the President thanked the staff for their service and sacrifice and expressed his support for our diplomats stationed around the world. Later, the President sat down with Steve Kroft of 60 Minutes in the Blue Room for an in-depth interview that will air later this month. Meanwhile, back in the West Wing, Ben Rhodes hosted us for a look back at 9/11 for our latest installment of The Rhodes Traveled.
Hello. Earlier this week, President Obama marked the 11th anniversary of the September 11th attacks on the United States. Every year, this is a solemn day for Americans to come together and remember what unites us, but also to honor those who served in our defense. The president went to the Pentagon to remember the day with the families of those who were killed in the attacks on the Pentagon. And then he went to Section 60 at Arlington National Cemetery, where he was able to visit the graves of some of our heroes who have made the ultimate sacrifice in both Afghanistan and Iraq. And finally, he was able then to spend some time with our wounded warriors as they recover at Walter Reed. Unfortunately, later in the day, we also received some very difficult news as 4 Americans were killed in an attack on our consulate in Benghazi. As the president would go on to say, those 4 Americans, together with all those who have served since 9/11, represent the best of our country. They represent the values that we share. They represent the fact that the United States is a source of hope around the world. So, as the president said, we will go forward carrying on their legacy, just as we carry on the legacy of those we lost on 9/11 and those we've lost in the difficult years since, knowing that together we can build a stronger America and that we can, again, pay tribute to those who we've lost by building the type of country and world that they've done so much to work for in their own lives.
To find out more information on any of these topics or to see complete videos of these events, go to whitehouse.gov. And thanks again for checking out your West Wing Week.
I've been waiting all this time for you. I want to see who it was.
I was at work. I was teaching.
Oh, you were? And you couldn't get off early, huh?
No. No.
Oh.
Because, you know, that's my job, so I have to be there.
So you had to be there.
I had classes of students.
That's right.